Hi there, my name is Kat Cooper and welcome to my world. Today's topic is about spells, magic spells, and I want to emphasise that I don't believe that putting a spell on someone actually interferes with their destiny. I feel that a spell is more or less a confirmation of something that you already know, sense, or are having a premonition about, and that the actual process of doing the spell is just like a tool that you're using to confirm what you're actually doing and what you want. Now, the interesting thing about this particular spell, it's designed to bring someone to you who you miss, you haven't seen for a long time, etc. And it usually works within about 2 weeks, although I've had varying effects. The very first one I did was back in the early 1970s, and my sister and I were having a conversation about her daughter, who was only very young, and she had been separated from her husband for some time, and he had retained custody of their daughter, and she desperately wanted to have her daughter back. So this particular day, we just sort of looked at each other and thought, well, there's only one thing left to do. We're going to have to put a spell and have that child brought back to you. So we both sat on the floor, which is what we usually do, and we performed this particular ritual. I won't go into all the details. However, right at the end of the actual spell, we close our eyes and suddenly you feel like a jolt, like that, just as if someone's just jumped. And you know at that point that you've actually got through to whoever it is you want to have contact with. So what actually happened, within 24 hours, her ex-husband knocked on the door with their daughter and handed the daughter over to my sister. That was pretty amazing, because we didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but we knew that we had put a lot of power, energy, desire, thought into the whole process. So we actually did know that it was going to work. There was no doubt about that at all. The second time involves one of my brothers, and to date he does not know about this, but he will now. He was living in England at the time, and I hadn't seen him for about 9 years. I was pretty anxious to see him again. It just had been so long, and we were pretty close. So I sat down and did a spell to bring him back to Australia. And 2 weeks later, knock knock at the door. At my parents' home, I was there. There was my brother. Later I asked him, what made you decide to come back to Australia? And his answer was, a couple of weeks ago I just got this feeling. I thought, I've got to book my trip back to Australia, go back and see mum and dad and my brothers and sisters and everyone. And of course, like I said, I never told him. Okay. The next one wasn't all that significant, and I still don't believe it interferes in a person's choice, but this one actually came to fruition within just about 1 hour. It was involving one of my other sisters, and she wanted to see her boyfriend. And so, okay, we sit on the floor and we do the spell. And 1 hour later, knock knock at the door. It never surprises me. There was her boyfriend, and she asked him where he had been, and he told her that he was actually on his way somewhere else on his motorbike, and that he just suddenly had this thought to come to where she was, which was at my parents' home, where I was, and one of my other sisters. So that was very sudden. He said he just very quickly decided and turned the bike around. He was headed in a totally different direction and came to see her. The next one actually involved approximately 1 year to come to fruition, which was heartbreaking for me at that time. I was madly in love with a guy. We'd been living together for 5 months, and he just suddenly and very abruptly left me. I was just so, well, heartbroken, I suppose is the word. And so I decided to do a spell to bring him back. It took a year, and I really couldn't understand why it took so long, because I really was madly in love with this guy. He was gorgeous. I used to melt at the knees every time I saw him. Anyway, apparently, well, what actually happened was a year later he came back into my life, but only for a couple of years, and it was a very off and on type relationship, very stormy. He'd arrive 3 days late for dinner and wonder why I'd throw a tantrum. Well, that's me. I like my man to arrive on time, and he just wouldn't if he didn't feel like it. Okay, I want to re-emphasise my involvement with this soup kitchen in Bateman's Bay. Actually, there's one starting up this month in Maruya on the 28th of July, and then sometime after there's going to be another one open in Bateman's Bay, and that will be on a Wednesday. The one in Maruya will be actually on Sundays. I'm hoping to, via doing these videos, to help with the fundraising. The woman in particular needs to raise $1,000 for public liability insurance. I've got her email address here. I hope you can see that clearly. It's karen.mcdermott@hotmail.com. Yes, got that right that time. Well, I want to once again thank you for tuning in. I know I keep revealing a lot of personal stuff about my life, but that's me. I'm here just to share what I've experienced in my life with you. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.